Hi guys, Charlie here from Future Frontiers, and welcome to your first video tutorial for your first session with your pupils. As you remember, the program consists of 4 separate distinct phases, plus the workshops and graduation. We're going to be first looking at the Discover phase, where you'll find out what your pupils are interested in. Then in the second video, we're going to be looking at how to explore those careers that relate to those interests and how they might go in further. We're going to be looking at some research into specific careers that your pupils like, speaking to an NCS advisor to get some more in-depth knowledge, speaking over Skype to professionals in the industries your pupils are interested in, and then building that academic plan and making a solid pathway to get there. Okay, so the first aspect of the program we're looking at, you're going to need the coaching and pupil handbook, and don't forget to get your pupil to write their name in, as well as your name. Okay, so in the Discover phase, you'll remember that in training, we've already gone through all these different aspects, and you've already ticked off, or they have been ticked off for you. What we looked at in this discovery phase is jobs that suit me. So we looked at using START and how START is going to be able to guide your pupil to the interesting careers that they like. So you can see there, it's a tick next to find suggested careers on START. We will review this again in the second video, and towards the end of this video, we'll look a little bit at how you might get this done. Now, in this session with Discover, we're mainly going to look at an overview, how to get to know your pupils. Pupils choose the words that they describe them, so describing yourself, what matters to the pupil, their launch pad, so they're acknowledging existing career ideas, setting some goals, and then we're going to briefly look at revisiting START, creating a profile, and other related careers on START. Now, in your first session, you don't necessarily have to get onto START, but we would advise, if you have time, to get onto it so it will make it easier for the next session. Okay, so back to your coaching and pupil handbook. On the first page of your coaching handbook, on the left-hand side of the screen, you'll see that it has a brief overview. Now, I'm not going to read this out to you, don't worry. We're mainly looking at what are the motivators and interests that students have, and how do those relate to the different careers. You'll see that we recommend activities 1, 2, 3, and 4 taking approximately an hour, and then activities 5, 6, and 7 taking approximately an hour. So within the 2 sessions that you do in Discover, you can split your time as you find appropriate, but make sure you have enough time to build an effective profile on START. Okay, the discovery phase. So we are into your pupil handbook. You'll see that it really clearly sets out what was going to be covered for the pupil. Now, firstly, you get them to describe themselves, what matters to them, and go through their launchpad, and then you set their goals. As I said, if we have time, and if you have time in the session, you can be looking at creating a START profile, exploring jobs that suit them, discovering more careers, and then selecting top 3 careers. Now, the very first thing you're going to do with your pupil is just start with a normal chat and get to know them a bit. We filled in some ideas of conversations you can have, but remember that open questioning chain. Try not to ask any closed questions. Brilliant. Once you've done that, we're extending the activity further. So the first thing you're going to be doing is asking your pupil to describe themselves. They're going to go through and circle the words that most effectively describe them. Now, the thing that is really important in this activity is to help your pupil think about what kind of person they are, so they can think about what kind of career would be beneficial for them in the future. Describe yourself activity in the coach handbook clearly gives an example. So this pupil is ambitious, friendly, wise, eager, and self-confident. Great, once you've finished that activity, go on to activity 2, where you're going to be looking at what matters to your pupil. Ideally, we don't want them to be ticking every single box, but don't dissuade them from doing that. Once they've done it, they've gone and ticked lots of different ones, rank the different boxes 1 down to 5. So again, there's a clear example in your coach handbook. You can see. Total, that should take you about 20 minutes. Obviously, if you want to extend that time to get to know your pupil better, that's absolutely fine. Okay, so we're already on to activity 3, your launchpad. This is where you find out what the pupil might already be interested in. So in this instance, we're asking what the careers they've already considered, why are they interested in these careers, what do they already know about the careers, and what you don't or what they don't know about the careers. They can also put any careers they're interested straight into the shortlist on page 14 of the pupil handbook. Again, you've got a clear example of what needs to happen on your coaching handbook. Again, we've written out a couple of examples, so it's really easy for you to see. This is quite an obvious one. Thinking about being an accountant because their dad's an accountant and they say it's good. I should do well in maths and I should probably go to university. So remember, back to training, thinking about how you would work with this pupil. Start thinking about those open questions. After you've completed that activity, you're on to activity 4, setting the goals for working with the Future Frontiers program. So this is a really important bit that you need to make sure your pupil understands is very serious. You're going to be writing out a contract with them, signing 3 different goals, and then signing your signature and their signature. Now in this aspect, you can see that as you're going through, you want to see what your pupil thinks is achievable and what they think they're actually going to get out of it. So, example here, discover some careers that they're interested in, learn what qualifications they need to get into jobs that they're excited about, and make a plan so they can get the grades they need. Now obviously you're going to be doing this with 2 pupils over the time, so you can allow one pupil to think about it while you work with the other pupil. Okay, so that was quite a whirlwind going through that activity. Hopefully that should be enough for the session, but at the end, if you do have time, start thinking about working on your START profile. So you go into START, again using your coach handbook, and you help them set up their account. So you remember from training, you go into login or onto the startprofile.com and you click register. It's very easy for them to register. You just follow the instructions in the coach handbook. Make sure that they select I am studying in education when prompted, and that they insert the name of the school, the year group, and the school code, which you will receive from your lead coach. You can see there's a handy hint on this page asking you to make sure they remember their login details, maybe adding it to a phone or to a notebook or somewhere else. What this does is it brings you to the register page, as I said, and it looks a bit like this. This should take a couple of minutes for each of your pupils to fill out. Fantastic. Okay, so you've got to that stage and hopefully you're familiar with it, having actually done it with your pupil and done it by yourself before for training. You go through and fill in those 4 areas with your pupils. So finding out what their skills are, what their interests, what their qualities, and their work preferences. Hopefully this shouldn't take too long, and again, as you're working with both pupils, you can work with one pupil on this and then the other pupil can explore different ideas and then you can go in between them. So here's an example. You can see the skills going from good, strong, excellent, or weak, and again, similar for interests, work preferences, and qualities. Make sure that you use this in page 11 in the pupil handbook. So you can see clearly it's really easily lay out for them so they know exactly what they need to be going through. It's also important when you are creating your START profile to think about making sure these pupils start putting in some careers that inspire them in their shortlist on page 14 and 15 of the pupil handbook. That will help them start to build a long list and then a short list of exactly where they might want to focus on their top career. Okay, now you can see the next activity that we're going to go into. This will be more in the second session and I'll cross over in the next video. But otherwise, thank you for watching and good luck on your first session.